Well, we're inside. It is snowing. Well, it's not snowing anymore. We'll talk all about that in, well, just a few seconds. Because here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Tuesday. It is November 3rd, 2020. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. So, a brief update on what I'm doing for coffee. So I've got this thing, right? This pour over, no paper filter. So it's really easy to clean. I put in 2 heaping tablespoons of coffee. Sometimes a little bit less. Pinch of salt. And I pour the water in just a little bit at a time. A little bit of water, and just repeat that process. Here's what I found. When I put in too much water, I'd basically fill that thing. There was enough pressure that the water came through faster. And so I would either have needed more coffee or to pour it back through again or whatever to get the flavor that I wanted. So this is what I'm doing. Tastes pretty good. No, it tastes more than pretty good. It tastes really good. Well, happy election day here in the US. Because of Election Day, we will not be having Whistlekick Live tonight. Gabe and I talked about it after October's live and said, everybody's gonna be tied to their TVs or whatever. Let's put it off a week. So Whistlekick Live will be next Tuesday, November 10th, 8 p.m. US Facebook. Now today being Election Day, good morning, Andrew. I am not going to talk about politics. If you want to tune in tomorrow for First Cup, I will not be talking about politics. If you live locally and you can't handle all the politics being discussed, come to my house. Nope. Am I going to watch stuff? Yes. Am I going to care about things? Yes. Am I going to talk about it publicly as part of our business because I think somehow that's what people want? No. No. Ugh. No. So yesterday's snow, I showed you that it was snowing a little bit yesterday when I got up and started to get a little bit heavier. Well, guess what? There's still snow on the ground. There's inches of snow on the ground. And there was so much snow that when I pulled the bedroom curtain back, I noticed that someone was unable to get their car up the road to their house last night. And then I get home 8. I got home at like 7:30. So it was sometime after that. And ironically, this is someone driving a Subaru, which has all-wheel drive. I would have expected they could have gotten up, but they must have some pretty bald tires. That or the road was much slipperier? Much more slippery than I would have anticipated. I don't have snow tires on because I'm hoping. It was bad enough I had to pay to register my car at the end of October, waiting for the lemon law stuff, but I'm going to try to not put the snow tires on because that's more money. And those snow tires are good enough, I can sell them for a little bit. And if I put them on the car, then I got to pay for that. And if I want to take them off and put the other tires on, I got to pay for that too. So we're just holding on, hoping for dear life that the state says, no, you don't need to have this car anymore. I was poking around the internet yesterday. Somehow I ended up with this advertisement for, you seen the little, not the smart cars, because those are actual cars, but the little, like, step up from golf carts. You see people driving them around in town. Well, come to find out, there's an official designation for vehicles called low-speed vehicles or neighborhood electric vehicles. And those vehicles, depending on the state, can go up to certain speeds. And looks like Vermont is 25 miles an hour. Well, there's a company in California called Pickman that is building these little trucks that are all electric, and they can go up to 60 miles an hour, though it's not legally on the road. And they've got a 1,000-pound cargo capacity and 150-mile range, and they're 15 grand. And I put a $50 deposit down on one yesterday because holy cow, I want one. They're adorable. Use it here around the house, take it on trails, drive into town, and I don't know, get groceries or something. I don't know, but they're cool. If that kind of stuff excites you, go check out Pikmin. I think it's thepikmin.com is the website. So what else is going on today? Other in between avoiding news coverage, because I'm sure the news coverage started at like 3 a.m. Even though there's nothing to say yet. You know, what would they? I'm getting dangerously close to talking about politics. I'm going to be avoiding all that, and I got much work to do. It's Tuesday. We have, I think it's just one interview episode today. With somebody, I don't remember who it is, and you know, some client stuff, and you know, I was thinking about going to Taekwondo last night. And if the roads were as bad as they were last night, I'm glad I didn't, because I don't get back until 9 when I go. The instructor and I end up usually chatting for at least a few minutes. Class doesn't always end right at 8. And then it's 35 to 40 minutes drive home when the weather's normal. So, yeah. I'm glad I didn't. I went to the gym instead. Lifted some weights. Pet a dog. Oh, you know what else happened yesterday? So I pulled some equity out of the house for whistlekick. Andrew's asking where my Taekwondo class is. My Taekwondo class is south. It's in Randolph, Vermont, which is where I used to live. When I first moved to Vermont, I lived in Randolph. And ironically, at that time, there were 3 martial arts schools in a town of 5,000 people. Because I had one briefly, and my Taekwondo instructor was going then. I didn't know him yet. There was another style of Taekwondo. There was ITF and WTF Taekwondo in the same little town. Yeah. And you better believe there was some political stuff around that. Martial arts politics, ugh, not my favorite. So bottom line, whistlekick has been able to take advantage of some of these programs going on with businesses struggling in the pandemic, and that's allowing me to try some things and hopefully get some stuff going. Get some movement. I've got a new theory on apparel. Like there's all kinds of stuff that we're doing. We got this. We're gonna be fine. None of it was grants. It's all loans. Loans I gotta pay back. Hell, a lot of money. Fortunately, not very much every month. Just a little bit a month. Or even better, I think about it in terms of weeks. All right. Those of you watching, hit that thumbs up button. Helps other people see it. So I don't have a whole lot to say about today because the rule that I said. You know, I'm not gonna talk about politics, but what I am gonna talk about are these things here that Frank wrote in, because Frank keeps me in quotes. And if you want to add something, you know, never feel bad. I get this. I'm afraid that some people think that there's too much, that it would be too much if they contributed something, and that's not the case. We will find time to talk about all of it. And if there was consistently stuff from other people, Frank would just contribute a little bit less. It would all work out. So here we go. Another sage, yesterday we talked about Lao Tzu. Another sage from ancient China was Confucius. Once again, we do not know exactly when he was born, but it was in the year 551 BC. Before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves. You've probably heard this one. I've heard this one. The idea of vengeance works great in movies, terrible in real life. Think about it this way. You have a fixed amount of time and energy to devote to the things that are important, that help you reach your goals or just help you enjoy your life. Why would you waste that on somebody else? Are there people that holding a grudge is too strong. Are there people, oh, it is still snowing. Are there people I dislike? People who I would not offer assistance to if they asked? Yes, of course. But I'm not going out of my way to make their lives worse. Do I sometimes fantasize about that? Say, oh, how great would it be to throw, what's a good idea? What's a good silly idea? Wouldn't I love to throw a bag of rotten fish through their window in the middle of the night? Yes, that would be awesome. But not really. I don't want to deal with a bag of rotten fish. I don't want to cause someone property damage. What do I want? I want them to mature and realize that they were wrong. I want them to apologize and correct their actions so someone else isn't wronged in the future. How does taking revenge do that? Being vengeful just entrenches people in their position. Daniel says, consider it done. Throwing fish through windows. But I've always liked this one. It's because there's always retaliation. It's not worth it. We see this in so many movies. It plays out. And I think before you take an action that might be seen as vengeful, ask yourself, how would I respond if someone did this to me? Because let's face it, the person that you feel previously frozen rotten fish, yes, that would be the best kind. Because remember, almost everybody feels that the actions they are taking are the right ones. They feel they're in the right, even if you don't, even if everyone else doesn't. They're doing what they think is right. In fact, I would argue that 95+% of people think that their actions are the right ones, even when they're at someone else's expense, because they don't see them that way. So the best thing to do, let it go, move on. To be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it. What did I close out the first one with? Let it go. Not the song. No, I'm not going to sing. I think we're all sick of the song. But it's true. You got to let stuff go. The older you get, the more people you're in contact with, the more you're trying to do, the more opportunity for negative stuff to come up. I could make a list for you of all the people who wronged whistlekick. I'd have to think about it, because I don't think about it day to day. But people who lied to me and essentially stole money. People who actually stole money. What am I going to do? Right? How do I minimize the impact of that? By letting it go. It's already happened. Let it go. I think this is easier, and this is kind of a broad life thing. I think I have an easier time. Andrew says, surround yourself with better people. Yeah. I think I have an easier time of letting some things go than a lot of people, because I see my best days as in front of me. When you think of your best days are behind you, it can be easy to look at what's going on and correlate where you're at with what other people have done. So what? I'm going to move on. I'm going to have better and more and happier and all that. Daniel says, I went to my 10-year reunion, and while I was over the things that happened, seeing my Billy as having done nothing with his life was satisfying. Yeah, I experienced some of that at my, let's see, what reunion was that? 20 year? Yeah, at my 20-year reunion, it was interesting to see. It was interesting to see what people were doing. That those of us who had actually accomplished things and were, on a path. A lot of those people didn't show. A lot of those people showed up. We were there. We wanted to visit and talk and feel better. Compare ourselves. I mean, let's be honest. That's half of why people go to a reunion. The people who weren't doing much, we all knew that they weren't doing much, and a lot of those people didn't show up. Daniel says he felt bad for feeling smug when he left. That bully tortured you, or at least negatively impacted your life. Finding some satisfaction in that way of life not panning out, I think that's okay. I taught them my favorite drinking game, though. Good. And Andrew says his comment before about surrounding yourself with better people wasn't a dig. It was a compliment. He says that I am surrounding myself with better people. Thank you. I do try. I do. It's really snowing now. What the heck? What is going on? It's early November. Not that this is completely foreign for this time of year. Crazy town. See, if I had one of those little electric vehicles, I'd have to put chains on it. That'd be super fun. Drive it into town. And I don't know. I don't really need to go anywhere. But just the idea of having a $15,000 purely electric vehicle really intrigues me. When anger rises, think of the consequences. When has it ever been a good idea to make a decision out of anger? Not in life. Not in training. You ever know someone who gets angry when they spar? You score a point on them, or maybe you make a little bit more contact than you'd intended, and they get angry. Do they spar better or worse? They spar harder, but are they better? No. Show me a professional fighter who is successful, who tends to get angry. It doesn't work that way. Anger clouds your judgment. Anger is wasteful. Daniel says, my birthday's coming up. Snow always tries to make it white. And great quote in a parenting book that we read with regard to managing anger. The immaturity of a toddler will test the maturity of an adult. Ooh, I like that one. I'm sure that's very accurate. I like that. Not to alter one's faults is to be faulty indeed. What is martial arts? It's personal growth. Personal growth from the perspective of combat. Some adults are still toddlers, yes. What does personal growth require? It's a two-stage iterative process. What do I need to improve or want to improve? What do I want to improve? Improve it. What else do I want to improve? Improve it. I have been working lately at being patient and not having emotional connections to food and money. Not easy, but important, valuable. So, I work on it. I recognize my faults there. I'm honest with myself. I try to develop methods to improve. Andrew's writing in, there is much to be learned from a passing rainstorm. You do such things as pass under the eaves of houses in an effort not to get wet. But when you are resolved from the beginning, though you will still get the same soaking, you will not be perplexed. Yamamoto Tsunetomo. I think this is the most comments we've had in a show before. I like it. Glad everybody's chiming in. Makes it much more fun for me. Coffee did come out really good. So it's almost a little strong. Almost. But still good. I wish martial arts talked more about martial arts classes talked more about the importance of growing as a person. It's implied. We're laying the foundation for people. It does tend to happen. But what about pointing it out? What about pointing out, hey, you rush into things when you spar. Do you also rush into things in life? You are far too reserved when you do freeform techniques. You wait, you think, you overthink. Do you also do this in life? I've heard some people say that the way you spar is the way you live. And maybe that's true for me. I do tend to be pretty precise with my techniques. I tend to be thoughtful. And I do fall victim at times to an arrogant strategy. I think I've got this figured out, and I charge in, and oops, I was wrong. And then sometimes I just play around. Yeah, so I guess for me it's true. To go too far is as bad as to fall short. Yeah. I don't know what to add to that one, other than it's very true. I agree. It's one of those horseshoes and hand grenades. Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, right? Well, I think it's a good time to go. I hope you have a great day. I hope you will leave some questions or some comments below once the show closes, something for me to talk about tomorrow. I hope that if it's snowing where you are warm and safe. I hope throughout today and this week, you are safe. I hope you will not compromise your safety unnecessarily. I think that's the best way to express it. And remember, if you want to support us, we got the Patreon, and we've got plenty of stuff at whistlekick.com for you to pick up. If you haven't checked out the programs, the strength training program, the speed program, the fight conditioning program, check them out. Once we start selling more of those, I got more to do. There's a flexibility one. That's the next one. But I promised myself, I gotta get some of these rolling before I put the time into that. So if you want to see a flexibility program, go check those out. Okay. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming by. I will see you bright and early tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time for First Cup. Peace.